Welcome back, my lovely listeners. I hope you are having a beautiful day today. Today's story is My Hotel Has a 13th Floor Part 5. We are 5/8 of the way through the story at the end of this video, which means there's only 3 left. So we're past the halfway point. Down in the description, you will find a link to Dustin Bragg's novel. It's called Slappy's Diner. It is available on Amazon, and you should absolutely check it out. Absolutely check it out. And as stated in the previous videos, the female voices, the voice of Taylor specifically, will be done by the lovely Patience, my other half. I'll link to her Twitter in the description. Go follow her and, let her know how she did. Yeah, not gonna hang you up anymore. So now we will get into My Hotel Has a 13th Floor Part 5 by Dustin Bragg. Enjoy. Are you sure about this? I asked as the sun sank below the horizon, its remaining glow fading, giving way to the sharp pinholes dotting the night sky.
It's the only thing that makes sense.
Taylor took a drag off of her cigarette and flicked what remained out my passenger side window. I craned my neck to look at her, seeing complete resolve on her face. She had asked that we stay in the car tonight, stay moving. Remembering the way it felt having the bald man's eyes locked on us, I concurred. We had driven the town most of the evening, Taylor opening up further with each tick of the odometer. She recounted that the day she put in her notice, Roger had shown up in the middle of the night, said nothing as he marched past her, and entered his office. She said he was in there for about an hour, and then the black-suited man showed up. Roger threw the door open and waved the man in.
I couldn't hear them, really, but I did get bits here and there. The gist of it was that the black-suited man knew something that made Raj uncomfortable. He said that his agency was willing to keep Roger's secret, but not for free. The suited man exited, and I could see Raj at his desk, looking stressed and disheveled, pouring alcohol into a shot glass. The very next day, the vending machine appeared,
Taylor said. She explained her theory that in order to cover up the murders in the hotel and facilitate the erasure of Leah, Roger had been forced into complying with some shady government agency that had become aware of the mysterious hidden layer of the hotel. Taylor theorized that the vending machine, like the laundry chute, was directly connected to the 13th floor. Unlike the laundry chute, though, the vending machine is more controlled. It sounded plausible to me. Hell, it almost made sense. What she said next, though, as we sat parked overlooking the city lake, watching the sunset, left me speechless.
I think we're going to have to break into Raj's house. I've thought about this since you contacted me, and I need closure. I can tell you want answers, or you're crazy, because through all of this, you didn't just walk away like any sane person would have. The hotel has haunted me for years, and I need that to end, Justin.
She lit a cigarette.
Raj told you that he buried Leah's bodies, the ones that came down the chute in his backyard, right? After we met up yesterday, I drove by his place. His car wasn't in the driveway, and I had to see. I just had to. I parked one street over and sneaked along backyard until I was standing in one directly behind his. I couldn't see over the high fence, but I could see enough through the wooden slats. There were no signs of any graves, which wouldn't be that strange. They could have settled, grown over, except for the fact that he supposedly had to dig one just a couple of days ago, according to you. I don't think you're lying to me, Justin, but that means Raj...
She trailed off, not knowing how to explain, but not needing to. I understood, though. We sat in silence while the sun went down. Under cover of night, I started the car and the two of us made our way to Roger's neighborhood. It was serendipitous that his car was again absent. We parked along the curb a few houses down. Taylor unbuckled her seatbelt. Wait, what are you doing? You want to do this now? I asked, surprised. I thought we were just doing recon, but here Taylor was, opening her door and stepping out. She popped her head back in the vehicle.
We may not get another chance. I don't know where he is or how long he'll be gone, but I've never known the man to take vacations. Let's go,
she urged. And I did it. Much to my shock and against my instincts, I got out and followed Taylor as she kept to the shadows. Taylor moved like a cat, and I lumbered behind much more clumsily, like a boxer whose owner just got home. She knelt at the front door, and I was stunned to see that she had come prepared. A small black pouch was pulled from her pocket, lock-picking tools. Within seconds, she was pushing the door open. Well, this explains why his car hasn't been here, I spoke as we stood inside. Even with the only source of light being Taylor's lighter, we could see that the place was not only abandoned, but in a state of disrepair. It looked like it had been lived in at one point, but crumbling furniture, windows boarded up from the inside, and slashes along the wall that looked suspiciously like they'd been made by someone's fingernails made it seem like those days had long passed.
Fuck me,
Taylor whispered, raising her lighter to highlight a crude but recognizable drawing on one of the scarred walls. I noticed her hand was trembling as the light danced across the marker drawing of Conan. Taylor, come on, let's get the hell out of here. I put my hand around her arm.
Wait, look,
She said, pointing out the drawing's eyes. They were looking toward an open door with stairs leading down. Are you out of your mind? Let's get the fuck out of here, I said. She didn't listen. Taylor walked toward the doorway, and I didn't want her to be alone, so I again told my instincts to piss off and followed. The descent was maddening, my nerves on fire. Every muscle in my body urged me to turn and run. But I couldn't leave Taylor. I felt protective. Not that I thought she needed it, but still. I should have turned. I should have ran. We both should have. For what we saw in the basement of that house was something I'll carry with me until I die. Oh, the body was there all right. The Leah that had come down the chute a few days ago, along with bones from previous Leahs, I assume. Femurs and spines and skulls littered the concrete floor. And there in the center of the room was the freshest corpse, torn open at the abdomen, entrails yanked through a ragged wound just above her belly button. Taylor and I simultaneously heard the breathing. There in the corner of the room was a figure bathed in shadows. The flickering light bounced on its long hair, casting a soft glow on the thing's bearded face.
Oh my god, Derek.
Taylor whispered shakily. Of course she recognized him. It dawned on me. He was her replacement all those years ago. What the fuck was Derek doing here? He was supposed to be in Alaska. That's where he said he was going. And I'm no Magellan, but this basement was sure as fuck not Alaska. He looked up at us with wild, crazy eyes, the sound of his name catching his attention. I saw the blood caked around his mouth, having dyed the beard around his drooling maw red. It was clear that the man we both had once known at different times was gone, replaced with this emaciated, feral shell of a man who was. Then, he lunged at us. This time, I listened to my instincts, placing myself between Derek and Taylor, falling backward into her as I was tackled. The three of us hit the floor and I felt his hands close around my neck. His spittle trickled from his grinning mouth onto my face. I began feeling the life drain from me, and knew that this was where the story would end. I closed my eyes. The next thing I remember is opening my eyes to feel myself being dragged up the stairs away from the frantic Derek. I hadn't noticed the chain around his neck before, but now he was tugging against it in an effort to reclaim me. Then I was out again. I came to once more to find myself on the floor staring up at the drawing of Conan. I was back in the living room. I turned my head. My neck was excruciating, and I saw Taylor was next to me, apparently having been knocked unconscious when Derek had tackled me into her. I sat up, trying to shake off the dizziness. My vision was fuzzy, but I could make out the back of a man dumping the contents of a gasoline can onto the floor. He tossed it aside once it was empty, where it landed among three others, equally empty from the hollow clatter they made when they collided. He turned to see me recovering, and I locked eyes with the bald, bearded man just as I had in the restaurant. He nodded his head at me as I brought one hand to the back of my head. I scooped Taylor into my arms as the man struck a match. We exited the house as it began to catch fire. The man simply walked away without saying a word. I knew better than to ask anything. He wouldn't respond. There was a nonverbal communication in that look he'd given me. It said, "You led me here, I saved your asses, consider it a one-time courtesy." The building was catching fast, and I hauled Taylor to my car, the opposite direction of the mystery man. And I started hearing the anguished, maniacal screams coming from deep within the house as I did. I felt pity for Derek, but I also felt that this was the most merciful thing for him. I loaded Taylor into my passenger seat just as she was coming to.
What happened?
She jumped as I buckled her in. We've got to go. The fire department will be here soon, and I'd rather not stick around. I'll explain on the road, I said, and that's what I did. Taylor is staying with me tonight. Don't worry, I'm a gentleman. She's in the bed, and I'm crashing on the couch. We've both got tonight off, but then it's back to work. Hopefully we can figure something out before then. So there you go, my dear listeners. That was My Hotel Has a 13th Floor, Part 5. Part 5 is the second to last chapter chronologically in the story. The next two parts, I have them labeled as 5.1 and 5.2. because they're kind of stories that are an aside from the actual 6 chapters to the story, if that makes sense. It'll make sense as I read them. Anyway, so that was part 5. Again, thank you to Patience for voicing Taylor, and thank you to Dustin Bragg for letting me read these stories. Again, there's a link in the description where you can find Slappy's Diner, the novel by Dustin Bragg, and I highly, highly recommend checking it out. Dustin's a fantastic author, and I just check it out. You'll appreciate it. That all said, down in the description, you'll also find links for my subreddit, my Twitter, and my Facebook, and a link where you can submit a story to me to read if you have something for me to read. That cyclically made sense. Yeah, not really much else to say. I hope you all have a fantastic day, fantastic night, fantastic weekend, whenever this is. And I love you all. Yeah. And sleep well.